Hi, I'm Dr. Sujay, and welcome to Live with Sujay, Headliners of Hope, headliners of people of the East End. And we're always excited, ignited, and delighted to welcome you to our show and to welcome the outstanding guests that we have. Today we have Assemblyman Tommy John Schiavoni. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. And so you just were sworn in January. Now we're in the month of July as this is taping. It may air another time. But in that short time, 7 months, you've allowed 11 bills have passed that you have presented?
That's correct. The session this year, each year it goes from January to June.
Okay.
And in the first session, I was able to pass 11 different pieces of legislation through the Assembly.
Wow, that's amazing. How often do you have to commute? Because you were in the first Assembly District, which is the end, and you have to go to Albany. And how often do you have to go during session?
During session, yeah, it's every week, and you drive up to Albany, usually on Sunday evening, and then you come home later in the week. Either
Okay.
it's Thursday or Friday.
So do you get an actual apartment in Albany? I mean, do you have housing?
You know what they do? They have extended stay hotels.
Okay,
And
okay.
that's what the legislators do, and that's what I do, and,
Which is cool. It's
yeah,
cool.
it is. And, it's the easiest way currently.
Yes.
And there are a lot of other ways to do that.
Yeah.
But
My late brother was the first Black assemblyman in the Bronx, and he
Oh.
was the head of the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. So I
Okay.
know there's a lot of diversity, but you
Mhm.
also make sure New York State is represented because here in our district, you have the Shinnecock Indians who you invited to the legislature. Talk to us about that visit and what that was like.
The Shinnecock Nation,
Mhm.
they were up in Albany for the State of the State
Mm-hmm.
address and for some other meetings as well. And it was really fantastic to see them up there,
Mm-hmm.
in addition to our other Native American nations.
Yes.
So I got to
And
see
there, how many in New York State?
There are the Six Nations in upstate,
Yes.
the Seneca, Cayuga, Oneida, Onondaga, Mohawk, and Tuscarora.
Wow.
And we have two on Long Island. We, of course, had the Shinnecock, federally recognized in
Yes.
2010, and we have the Unkachog,
Okay.
who live on the Poospatuck Reservation in Mastic, and they are a state-recognized nation.
Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that. But you go way back. You not only represent this district, you are a son of this district. So your family was in the plumbing business. So talk to us about what you did from a childhood and how that's prepared you for this role.
My father and my brothers, they're plumbing mechanics. My
Mhm.
grandfather was a plumbing mechanic. And so that is what we did growing up. During the summers, we went to work.
Yes.
And I have to say, it has shaped what I do and who I am considerably. I still have my tools.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do my own plumbing. It's a wonderful curse to have.
I'll invite you
but-
over sometime
Yeah,
for
well,
dinner and
anytime.
whatever else you'd
Right.
like to do.
Exactly. But in plumbing, we worked on water wells, and I've
Okay.
driven shallow wells, and I've also worked on submersible pumps. So when I went to college and then went to grad school, and I began learning about Long Island's geology and hydrology, to me it was a
Yes.
very hands-on, knowledgeable experience because I still was working in the plumbing business
So
at
is this
that time.
community still use wells a lot, or
They do.
they do?
There's a lot of homes that are drawing their water directly
Mhm.
from their property, from the aquifer under their property.
Interesting.
And then on the other side is the waste system. So these advanced, innovative alternative waste systems, nitrogen reducing waste systems.
Sure.
I have a good understanding there as well.
So we
And
don't
then
have a
there's-
lot of on the corners like you have in the city. You don't have a lot of places where the water goes. So how do we get rid of or what's our irrigation system like? Or
Well, most virtually all of the residents and businesses on eastern Long Island have a septic system. So essentially, our
Mhm.
effluent,
Mhm.
which comes through us, goes back into the ground after being treated, either primary or secondary. That's the design of the current systems.
Yes.
They do a very good job with that, but they don't take nitrogen out of the effluent. So the
Got it.
nitrogen goes back into the water table that ends up into our ponds and harbors
Okay. Okay.
and bays, and it's changing them considerably.
So is that taken care of on the regional level or the state level? I mean, because there are a lot of environmental issues connected with that. So what, as an assemblyman, do you focus on concerning the environment?
Well, people own their own systems and they
Mhm.
own their own residents, and it is incumbent upon them to change their systems.
Okay.
There are some areas of the towns of East Hampton and Southampton and Shelter Island that require changes to be made if there's a new home
Yes.
or if the home is doing significant remodeling.
Got
But
it.
they're not just, the towns and the state, we're not just telling you to change your system,
Mhm.
we're also offering grants.
Okay.
And there is
Okay.
monies from the towns,
Yes.
also from Suffolk County.
Yes.
And I'm proud to say that we just passed a bill that increased funding from the state of New York.
I appreciate that. I
Yeah.
know that we do. So how do you interrelate with the county executive and other legislators that are not New York State? So
Mhm.
regional and citywide. So how do you relate?
It's important to have partners in local government.
Mhm.
The First Assembly District actually has 4 towns, 10 villages, 26 fire districts, 25 school districts.
My
Each,
goodness.
all of them, they all have, and are federally recognized nation,
Yes.
Native American nation, and they all have elected officials.
Mhm.
So it's important to be able to talk to them and understand where they're coming from and what their challenges are. Each level of government has their own responsibilities
Sure.
in governance under New York state law.
But you can
I
carry
came,
the voice. You can be the voice for the statewide
yes,
issues in Albany.
additionally, I came up through local government.
Okay,
I was an
that's right. Talk to
educator
us
for
about
30
that.
years.
Yes, and
Uh,
secondary education.
Yes, at the
And what
Center
was your
Burgess.
subject?
So government and economics. I was a
Wow.
social studies teacher.
Amazing,
yeah.
amazing. And how many years did you do that?
I taught for 32 years.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and enjoyed it.
I love it. So you really were prepared. Your life was preparing you pragmatically, the plumbing, and
Mhm.
then teaching history and economics really prepared you for the role that you're in.
Yeah, kind of change lanes a little bit there, and
Yeah, yeah.
and I agree, and life takes you to
Where
where
you're
you need
supposed
to
to go,
be,
yeah,
and
it's a
I
current.
I, I
Yeah.
think, and so this where I am now feels right,
Yes.
because in addition to education, and
Mhm.
there is a lot of education issues in Albany,
Yes.
funding, and we just banned cell phones in secondary
I saw
schools,
that,
so
which is important.
that's important, and but I also served on local boards, zoning
Mhm.
boards, as well as the village board. I'm from the village of North Haven, and I
Okay.
served on that board, and then, of course, the town of Southampton
Yes.
as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So now you're not just an assemblyman and an elected official, which we congratulate and salute you
Thank
on,
you.
but you also are a father and a husband. Talk to us about the multifacetedness of your life and how you, maybe some people say juggle, but how you just live your life.
Well, yeah, first of all, I'm married to the most incredible person I've ever met
I think
in
she's
the world.
incredible
Yeah,
too.
and that is my wife, Andrea Harum Schiavoni.
Yes.
She is an elected official herself.
Yes.
She is a New York State Family Court judge.
Mhm.
And my partner in life, I'm happy to say, she supports me in
Yes.
this role, and this venture. And
I knew you before I knew you
Yes.
because of your wife. So
Right.
wonderful.
Right,
Yes.
and she too came up through local government. She was
Yes.
a criminal court judge in the town of Southampton,
Yes.
and she created the Justice Court in the village of Sag Harbor.
Oh, how amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. I've
Yeah.
had to use it, so tell her thank you.
Right,
And they're very good, actually.
yeah, and
Very,
it
very
keeps
good.
justice locally,
Yes.
and so it's nice to go to that court. So she's very knowledgeable in her field and other fields. She's a trained musician and a
Yeah,
journalist.
she's an amazing woman. And you have 2 children?
Yes, we do. We have
Oh.
2 children, Anna and Thomas.
Okay.
Adult children. Thomas
Yes.
is 21 and Anna is 23.
Okay.
And she has gone into acting. She was
Mhm.
just acting at Shelter Island and Shakespeare in the Park.
Oh,
and knocked it out of the
congratulations.
park. And the
Yes.
whole cast did it really
Mhm.
wonderful. It was at Sylvester Manor, and it's just
Yes, oh, which is
so
has such
beautiful
history, and
there.
we've had them on as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
one of my friends, Donna Maria Barnes, is kind of running things over there and making sure things work at Sylvester Manor. So that's really good. Has an interesting history.
Yeah. And
So
our son Thomas, by the way, he's going to FIT. He's an
okay,
illustrator.
okay.
And so He lives in Brooklyn, so
Okay,
he's
so they're
21
living
and
their best
he's
lives.
pretty cool. Yeah,
I love it. I love. Well, they got a cool dad
Yeah.
as well. Cool dad as well.
I
So
love
this
them
show is
dearly.
called Headliners of Hope. So I always ask, what are you hopeful about in these times?
Uh, These are challenging times, and I think it's important for the state governments as well as the local governments to really deliver for the people in their jurisdictions.
Mhm.
Um, it's education is important, and as a state official, I support education.
Yes.
And, some of our social safety nets that so many of us grow to depend on, I think, those are institutions that need to stay in place, and it's that much more important for the state government to step up and to provide that.
So
I
you have
think,
to hear and listen to your constituency. And I've
yes,
seen that you've set up mobile offices so people can
yes.
reach you. Talk to us about that. I mean, that's so innovative and creative. Talk to us about mobile offices.
It's a large district.
Mm-hmm.
The first assembly district goes from Eastport, East Moriches, all the way out to Montauk.
Oh, that's
It
long.
includes Shelter Island as well as the town of Southold on the North Fork.
Okay.
So my district office is in Noyak, it's in Sag Harbor.
Yes.
So what I do on the first Tuesday of each month, or Tuesdays in the month, is I have office hours in West Hampton,
Yes.
Montauk, and Greenport. And so,
Wow.
we
Mhm.
send notices out
Mhm.
to the areas that I'm gonna be in the area, and people sign up to see their assembly member.
And do they really come out?
Oh, sure. Oh, they
Okay,
do.
that's
And
good. That's good.
I believe it's important to meet people where they are.
Exactly.
And to be in their community, not just in that aspect, but for other things as well.
Yeah, and there's
So,
nothing like the in-person contact. You can't do certain things in a hybrid. You
That's
have to
right.
be with them. Yeah.
It's a 45-minute drive from Sag Harbor to Montauk and vice versa,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
going out to Montauk, that was a pretty busy
Yes,
day. A lot of folks in
yes.
Montauk, they're very engaged, as were West Hampton and Greenport as
Okay.
well. So,
Okay. So now we are the village of Sag Harbor, where I live, and the town of East Hampton.
correct.
So how do we kind of make the distinctions, or how do you make the distinctions if you have to?
Well, the village of Sag Harbor is municipally challenging.
Yes.
In that it's divided between the towns
Ex-
of Southampton and the town of East Hampton.
Yes.
And so everything that the village of Sag Harbor does, they pull in Southampton Town and East Hampton Town. We got funding for them for
Yes.
water quality
Mhm.
testing. They're expanding their sewer system, and so they get monies from both towns, and then
Yes.
they issue it themselves. Funny story, I think it's
Okay.
funny.
Yeah, let me hear it.
I used to be the manager of the Sag Harbor Youth Center, and that was in the building where Provisions is located now.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
sure.
And I was there, I was co-manager with Emily Renner, now
Mhm.
Emily Bennett, and the towns of the line of East Hampton and Southampton Town goes through that building.
Yes,
And then
yes.
out to Longwood.
Oh my gosh,
Right,
through
Division
that, right,
Street,
okay.
right, it goes through the building. And the executive director, Pat Recibo at the time, she would get monies from the town of East Hampton as well as the town of Southampton.
So
and the
Division
county
Street
and
really
Suffolk.
means divider?
That's correct. That's a
Oh, okay.
dividing line between Southampton and East
See
Hampton
there?
Town. Right, if you're traveling south on Division Street, you're
Okay.
in Southampton. If you're
Okay.
traveling north, you're in East Hampton.
That's amazing. So she could get money from both sides
And
because
she
you're in
did.
both. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and so I was the director there with Emily, and it was good for kids. And
That's amazing.
it gave them a place to go, and we had a mental health component as
Mhm.
early as the 80s.
Which is
there.
oh yes, oh
Mhm.
yes.
That actually got the seed money from Harry Chapin, who did a concert in East Hampton High School and sold tickets, and it was a great success. And they raised a bunch of money, and they started the Sag Harbor Youth Center. It's
So-
no longer going, but it really had a great run.
I heard that it
Right
did.
on the line, too.
Yeah, I love it. So you said it feels good where you are now, like
Yeah,
you
it
kind of
feels
see
right.
how you. Do you feel that this is your purpose, as people call it?
Well, I think we all have our purposes.
Yes,
Like
mhm.
whatever you do,
Yes.
you want to do it well and do it to the best of your ability.
Mhm.
I think this in particular. I also have been a teacher, and I felt the same way about teaching.
So when you are where you are,
Yeah.
you bloom where you're planted, in a sense.
Right.
Hmm. and see what flowers come out of that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So if I gave you the formula A plus B plus C equals success, an algebraic formula, what's your A, B, and C, and how do you get to success?
Well, preparation and opportunity is always something that I've lived by. That's my definition of luck:
Yes.
preparation and opportunity.
Okay.
Right? You
Okay.
have to be prepared for the opportunity to take it.
And the
We're very
gardener talks about be ready when the luck happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I've always felt myself to be prepared well for this because of my participation and service in local government.
Yes.
And I also should mention that I was in the fire department for 8 years.
Oh, please do
And-
that. Which
and
department?
Sag Harbor Fire Department.
Really?
Yeah, now-
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, 8 years for the fire service, that's pretty new. you know.
Yeah.
I actually got on the school board and had to make a choice. So
Okay. Okay.
I went, and served on the school board
Well,
too.
thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. And, the men and women in our fire departments are just, they're fantastic. And in those 8 years, I became an interior firefighter. And, so I learned their governance and, how the fire grounds work. And, was on some pretty serious situations. But, I just like learning that world is important.
And it's
because
a world. It's a
our
world.
our
Yeah.
first responders are so incredibly important in our East End communities,
Yes.
actually all throughout Long Island.
Yeah, I had a
But-
chance to visit the fire department of East Hampton,
Mhm.
which is amazing as well, and just spend some time there. But I was a first responder at 9/11. I was an NYPD
Oh.
chaplain for 21 years. And so I was on the front lines, which was its own experience. And I think, you may have had a purpose, but then that created a whole new set of things that you had to do. Has there been any kind of trauma or tragedy, to your knowledge, as you've been serving, either in school or in the fire department or out this way, that you had to face that was
I was in the rescue squad, and there were some pretty
some pretty
serious.
serious?
And one of the things that I learned is that our first responders see this. I mean,
Yes.
we have men and women who have been in for 30, 40, 50 years,
Yes,
and they have experienced that trauma.
yes.
And then it becomes part of them.
Mhm.
So, I was happy to see that in addition to the governance in our first responding units, they also have, a therapeutic component.
Yeah, yeah.
I think therapy might be a strong word. 'cause
No,
they're
but
pretty-
caregiving,
at
I call it
least
caregiving for the
They take care of
caregiver.
each other.
Yes.
And that's important because, they are members of our community and they have
Yeah.
kids and, they're
And
going
that
to
wasn't
their
in place when
families.
we had 9/11. It was
No.
just, it happened,
not.
and it was 61 days straight of funerals and recovery and rescue. And then they were like, okay, you have 1 day off. And it was like, no.
One day.
I'm jacked up. I'm pretty jacked up. So I'm so glad that you introduced it. I do some things with women
I didn't
leaders.
introduce it. I learned it.
Yeah, I learned about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's there now,
Yeah.
which is so important. So I do some things with women leaders, particularly of urban settings, that I call caregiving for the caregiver. And just really taking some time, retreats and some things that just help them heal and feel whole and just get away from it. And so that's really important. So this is a beautiful place for us, for those of us who grew up in the city, we have this tranquility. Where do you go when you want to get away?
I go home, have
Okay.
coffee with my wife.
Oh, I love it. You get a high five on a couple of things. I love it, Tommy John.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, we have beaches and trails and
yeah.
beautiful parks and, I'll go there and,
Yeah.
hike and, but there's a lot of time on task with this.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do enjoy it. I have to say, some of the greatest, aspects of being an assembly member in the first district is the connections that I make
Yes.
with people in
Yes.
the community and either with my job at Center Moriches or my family or, just
Right.
like, people know stuff. And so it is a small community out here.
Yeah,
So I
even here
find
at the
that-
LTV, doing this show this is about my 100th, I think. But it's a family because it's so intimate and everyone's so caring. And so shout out to my production team, Zach and his team. But yeah, but it is a wonderful community. I've been starting to live out here year round, and it's just really, really nice for us. So we appreciate that. So hope again. So now in a lot of the urban schools in New York, they've taken out cursive, which is, learning how to sign your name, if nothing else. Do you see deficits in the school system here, or is it small enough that you're able to kind of handle things like that?
We have fantastic schools.
Yeah.
We really do. And throughout Long Island, the public schools here are some of the best in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
And, I stand by that, not only
Yes.
as a teacher, but, there's a reason why people want to move on Long Island, and we have such high prices for housing. There's a couple of things, but,
Yeah.
they are desirable areas.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that our schools really had a challenge with the cell phones in school.
Okay.
And that's something that the governor addressed
Yes.
in her State of the State, and we supported. And now students are not allowed to have cell phones in schools.
So that's actual legislation.
That's actual legislation, and that is law in New York State. So,
Okay.
the idea is that if you're in school, be in school.
Exactly. Be
And-
fully present.
and know that there are engineers on the other side of that phone
Yes.
who are studying young people to try to keep their eyes on that
Yes.
phone.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is taking its toll. I believe that
I think
it's
so
going to be
too.
far worse than we currently know. I'll tell you a story that was a little funny or scary for me in my last year or second to last year teaching. About 11 students all laughed at the same time in my classroom. I mean, I was teaching, we were
Yeah.
doing, it wasn't, they were paying attention, but somebody texted them something funny.
Oh. Oh.
I don't know, the thought to me was like, oh my goodness, they're organized.
Yes.
And that's not something that I had ever experienced in my career.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, so that's not why I voted to take cell phones out of school, but
Yeah.
it was a moment for me. And but beyond that, I know that the engineers and the social media platform don't necessarily have our children's health, at the top of their mind.
When the cell phones first came out, and my son, he was about 8 at that point, texted me, and he was in the bedroom, and I was like, "You come out here and come to the dinner table. We're not, we're going to talk to each other in this household." So I'm hoping a whole generation
Thank
learns
you.
how to communicate and interact with each other, and parents have to set some boundaries. I mean, that's kind of what we do to help raise our children. Yeah.
Parents are the first teachers.
We are the first teachers. What's a highlight for you? I know the swearing in and this role, but what's a highlight you can think of out here on the East End that's happened with you, for you, to you?
There have been a number of wonderful things that have happened. Getting elected.
Yes.
I mean, it's incredible, and it's an honor.
Yes.
And a huge responsibility, and I take it as such. That is really fantastic. I can say, last week, I had the Speaker of the New York State Assembly out to the district, and I invited him to Riverside, which is just by the South Circle and Riverhead.
Yes,
that
yes,
area.
yes.
And we had him at a Head Start, kind of like a little public event.
Yes.
And we got $2,250,000 to rebuild the Head Start building in that community.
Wow.
That
From
is
the
something
state of
that
New York?
From the state of New York.
Wow, how
Head Start
amazing.
is a federally funded program, and they have
Yes,
their
yes.
funding. They actually were in a building that was supplied by the town of Southampton. And I was a councilman at the time, and we were going to, the town of Southampton was going to expand the building. And when we opened up the walls, we found out that all of the metal studs were rusted out.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so we went from an expansion, and we were gonna have the Children's Museum for the East End
Yes.
in that space. They're fantastic. Head Start is also fantastic.
Yes.
And we went from that scenario to, we have to condemn the building. So Head Start in that area, now
Yes.
they're in the Riverhead School District,
Sure.
thank you. Suffolk Community College is housing them. So they're
Yes,
in a
we were
bunch of
there
different-
recently for a talk, and that's
Right.
beautiful too.
So they still need funding.
Yes.
They need about another $1 million, but they're well on their way.
Okay.
And that was one of my recent
Oh.
highlights.
Oh,
So
that should be,
kinda
that
comes
should
to
be.
mind. It's good for kids.
Definitely, definitely.
Oh, early childhood education is just so much data behind the efficacy of early childhood education. And the amount of words that a human knows before they're 5 has a direct relationship on their success in academics.
Exactly, exactly. One of the women who started Head Start in Harlem just died at 104. Her name was Dr. Thelma Adair, but it just made such a revolutionary transformation for children.
Thank
As
you,
you
Doctor.
said, yeah, Dr. Adair, Thelma Adair, she did it, and she did it in a church building so that the community could come, and they got about 5 million from the state. So thank you for your leadership in making sure those monies come appropriately. What about economic development? I work with a lot of women who are building businesses, creating businesses here in New York, in Suffolk County. What kinds of things are available through the state of New York?
Well, there are a number of programs that are available to help small businesses.
Yeah.
I'm going to be having a small business summit through Stony Brook, Southampton for people who are looking to start a business or who have already started a business.
Yeah.
And so Stony Brook offers some programs to help people do that.
Okay, I'd love to partner with you or help support that in
Okay,
any
yeah,
way.
that would be
Yeah, that's coming
fantastic.
soon.
It is. We're going
Okay.
to be doing it in September.
Okay.
And, having someone, knowledgeable about the various programs in the state,
Yes.
county, different permitting that's involved
And
so
certifications and things like that.
certifications.
Yeah, which is also wonderful. My late parents started, it's the longest running Black family owned business in New York City now. So from childhood, we learned how to run a business, support a business. So it's so important to have the technical support and the other kinds of support that are available, so we appreciate you for that.
My father had a business.
Yeah,
plumbing,
well, yeah, and so you're a
it was-
third generation business owner,
Yep.
you know.
My brothers now own the business.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're doing a great job.
So we got to ask the question. There are a lot of Schiavonis around. There's a supermarket.
Yes.
Are you all related?
We are.
Okay.
We are.
Okay.
There's about 135 of us with the name in and around Sag Harbor.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
and so my second cousins run the store, and my
Yeah,
brothers have the
Michael,
plumbing
and
business.
they're
Right.
wonderful. They've been very supportive of our LTV programming, actually. So we thank them and thank the family.
Fantastic, that's great.
So where's the family from? Where's the family's heritage?
We actually come from Venice.
Okay.
And my roots, the Italian roots, actually come Venice and Abruzzi, which is
Yes.
across from Rome, if you know.
We're out of time. I can't hear the rest of your story. Well, thank you for joining us. But Venice is the place, and I hope to go there soon. Thank you for joining us for Live with Sujay. We have been with Assemblyman Tommy John Schiavoni. Thank you.